Dit programma is tot stand gekomen met een bijdrage uit het Mediafonds Amstelveen.
Welcome everyone to the 8th and final episode of the season of Amstelveen For Everybody. In this episode, I'm going to guide you through everything that we've recorded throughout the year. It's been a wonderful year. We've had so many guests on table. We've spoken to so many different organizations, and we've had the best and most beautiful moments. And that's what I'm going to show you, my favorite parts. So let's start off with the first episode that we had, where we were talking about communication, because the key to it all is indeed communication. So we started off with our own Mayor Poppins on table, the mayor of Amstelveen, and of course Curtis, who then became our international vlogger. He is an American expat. He's living over here, came in during COVID times, and he took us through what it was like to move here to Amstelveen.
It's part of the reason we love the Friday market in the Stadshart, and we try to speak Dutch with many of the vendors there who know us, and they've learned that we want to hear Dutch, so they respond as well in Dutch. Occasionally they see our frustration and switch to English and help us out, but it's really nice to feel like we're part of the community.
That's a very good example. We have in the Netherlands that people who live here expect from newcomers that they say hello to them. But we have also a lot of more introvert cultures worldwide who coming in Amstelveen and expect the people who live here already to say hello to them. And if you don't communicate with each other, then there will be no connection. And that's one of the important things, just to address these kind of issues. We can help people to bridge the gap.
Yeah. So indeed, integration and communication and bringing together, it's a two-way road, right? We cannot expect just one party to make all the effort. We hear about all the, let's say, efforts that are being made for the international community to make them feel more settled and feel more home. There's still a lot of work to be done. Like you're saying that there's, the language barrier, for example. Curtis, I think you're a prime example of someone who tries to get over the language barrier. I'm very curious, Mayor, from the point of the municipality, what is it that you're doing to the local Dutch community to encourage them to make that first step?
A couple of issues. We realized last couple of years that's important to do also some from the municipality. Website, English language for the most basic information. Second part, we have the Taalhuis, where we offer different kinds of Dutch language, Dutch courses for different groups. That's the second thing. We also try to stimulate and motivate all kinds of associations, clubs, to address their communication to the members, also in different languages than Dutch alone. But at the same time, we try also to encourage the newcomers to be member of those clubs and associations, or to join the board of those associations, or to start with volunteering activities. I think it's a two-way thing we have to do.
Yeah. I'm still, however, in your story, I'm still only hearing how local, or like, let's say, expats have to learn the language, get involved. But I'm saying, how do we encourage our local neighbor to reach out to a new neighbor who's just moved into the area?
I see just a matter of saying hello to each other. If you have different cultures, try to have a chat with each other, to share food with each other, depending on the cultures. In the neighborhood, I live in Amstelveen in Bovenkerk. I think we do have 20-25% maybe internationals already. Yeah, we have twice a year a buurt barbecue, as we call it. Yeah. And of course we also invite the internationals. And most of the time they come, and in advance we say everybody has to prepare some food and bring it in. And from that moment, it's a cooperation of everybody. Yep. And you see already that was the first step. Just an example in my own neighborhood.
Curtis, I think you are somewhat of a model expat that's come over here, taking that effort. What are some of the tips and tricks that you can give to newcomers that are coming to Amstelveen or to the Netherlands?
I think the first one is just not to be afraid. People are friendly and they want to get to know you. Taking the time to learn simple pleasantries, just to be courteous. Being involved with Scouts all my life, one of the things we hold true is that Scouts are courteous. And when we are pleasant to one another, it makes things a little easier. So just learning how to say please and thank you and hello and welcome. And those sorts of things go a long way. Even if you can't speak a whole lot of the language, it shows some effort in trying to show some care about where you are coming to. And for the most part, I found the Dutch to be very warm and wonderful people.
Yeah, and then maybe when I may add, the Dutch are of course also very direct, so they have no problems with just addressing them, say hello to them, and start a conversation. It's exactly what you said.
The second episode of Amstelveen For Everybody was about connection, and we spoke to Vidya and Komal, who had just come into Amstelveen, and they were telling us examples of how to connect with other people. They gave us examples from food and music.
Big party!
Big party.
Big party! So many people, so many colors, and I'm really happy that the community made an effort to have this event today for all of us. It makes me feel closer to home. So really happy to be here.
Oh, it's great because I was missing this Diwali here, but now you can see like it's kind of mini India here, so I'm enjoying it here.
It's amazing!
How is it the best way to connect with each other?
Talk about food. That's always the best way.
Maybe if you cook something Indian, just go to them, offer it. If they like it, call them home. Sometimes they call us home.
Food, music.
I think it's food. Best way is to connect somebody with is food, because when your stomach is full, you are happy and you can talk a lot.
Yeah, talk to the people. Yes. Yeah. Go. Yeah. I think that's the best way.
Maybe if a package had to come to your house and you were not home, just tell that, can you drop it to my neighbor, and that's how you break the ice.
Yeah, I would say so, yes. If you want to, you can always find people everywhere and things going on, so it's not a problem.
So there are not lots of festivals to celebrate together, but yes, of course, we have friends and colleagues who are Dutch, and then sometimes we have potlucks, and then we let's exchange our foods and culture and talk about it, all those stuff.
Would it be an idea to have a Spain festival over here?
Definitely, I think so.
Oh, Oktoberfest. Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah.
More events, yeah. We should have more events from Indian events, from Dutch event, and we should go together for both the events.
Besides food and music, there's something else that brings people together. I'm not sure if you guys can guess what it is. There's a hint. You mentioned it before.
Games, sports.
Indeed, yeah. So, I mean, besides hockey, and there are many other sports that are happening around Amstelveen to connect people together. Hockey, of course, is a very big one. Cricket is also one of them. But in Amstelveen, we have a football club called NFC, and it's a good example of this because on Monday and Friday evenings, more than 31 nationalities sometimes mix together and play there. Let's have a look.
Vamos Portugal! Hup Holland! Allez les Bleus! Wales! Slava Ukraine! Heroes Slava! Come on you boys in green! Vamos España!
We call it soccer, and at least we're not Canada.
Come on England and Senegal!
Twice a week, dozens of enthusiastic football players from all parts of the world come together at the Amstelveen Football Club NFC. Nowhere in the Netherlands is such a colorful collection active on the football field. The group of football players all living in Amstelveen. At the moment they play together with 30 nationalities. And that doesn't just apply to seniors. Youth is also characterized by the large number of nationalities.
80+% of our membership actually are not from the Netherlands, and 90% of the youth. So it's really from all over, from Russia, from China, from the US, Latin America, North Africa. I mean, it's really quite incredible. The US, yeah, all these different places.
He came here and he had a big network, but he worked at Uber. And he told me there were a lot of people in Amstelveen, expats, who didn't have a club, and they searched a club. And I told him, just bring them here. Let's try the Friday here and the Monday. Just bring them to play soccer. And he brought like 10, 20 people, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And there were a lot of people here who were English-speaking expats in Amstelveen, and they were searching a club. And he told me, yeah, there's a pitch here, and they wanted someone to let them feel welcome, and we just dove on the opportunity to bring them here.
What started with a group of students and expats grew into a huge group of internationals in Amstelveen and got to know each other through football, an ideal way to connect.
It was a small international community, and then over the past 5 years, by word of mouth, we started to grow, and now we're about 500 people, 500 members, mostly international.
Sport, and in this case football, is the ideal way to get to know people and make some friends.
You know, we've been living outside the United States for 10 years, and football for us has been the way we've connected everywhere. First I came here, I didn't have a club. Now I had a club. That club then led me to meet other people, my teammates and members. We hang out now, not only for socially, but business-wise. Actually, many of these people here are working for great companies, organizations. And then my son as well has now joined NFC.
Soccer connects.
It's great to have that number of nationalities, and it's all really harmonious. There's a lot of connection.
Especially if you move like I did from abroad, and you reserve some time after work. You arrive here, you see we have more than 20 nationalities. It's amazing, you learn new languages, new tricks.
By the third episode, it was already winter time, so the holidays were just around the corner. It was a perfect episode to talk about religion and the festivities. I, of course, got to stuff my face with oliebollen, and I had a blast. I think this was my favorite episode of the season. We had some really great guests on table then as well, and that was the director of Participe, which is a community center here in Amstelveen, and they showed what they do to make sure everyone feels warm and welcome during the holidays.
And I think the purpose of our organization is to make a difference in somebody else's life. And it doesn't matter, old, young, if you come from States or you come from Iran, it really doesn't matter. And if you're sick or if you're healthy, we all have some stages in life when it's like getting divorced or losing your job or losing your health, when you really need some support and help. And my colleagues are helping. And then we also have community centers. And we have a lot of volunteers that help us to run those places, to take care of the coffee, to take care of the sweets, to take care of the nice smell in the kitchen, and to create a very friendly atmosphere inside. And we try to connect people, different people, all together, just to make the neighborhood, to make their streets, to make their life, to make their day a bit better than yesterday. One of our initiatives of the last weeks was collecting toys for the families that cannot afford it, and I think it's amazing. People bring a lot, and we wash it, we take care of it, and then the families will come and they can choose whatever they like, whatever fits their kid, and they can wrap it as a present, and they come with the present home, and I love it.
This really a beautiful and wonderful initiative. We even had like a reporter go to take a look and report on it. So let's see what they had to say.
Bergen speelgoed.
En hoe komt dat hier?
Omdat mensen hebben geen geld en wij verkopen speelgoed. Gratis.
Ik zag in Uithoorn dat een organisatie genaamd Plan A, die zich inzet voor minder bedeelde wijkbewoners, dat zij ook een speelgoedinzamelingsactie organiseerde. Dus ik heb dat voorgesteld aan mijn collega wijkcoaches van Participe Amsteland. We waren eigenlijk allemaal enthousiast, dus we zijn goed voorbeeld doet volgen.
Collecting toys and distributing them to those who can use them well, but can't afford them in these days. The call is hardly heard in Amstelveen. Many Amstelveeners have already donated toys, including Mother Tessa, who likes to help.
Ieder kind binnen een gezin heeft vaak toch wel een beetje een overschot aan speelgoed. Dus als je daar andere gezinnen mee kunt helpen, dan is dat super fijn.
Het is gloednieuw, Hot Wheels, Lego, schone nieuwe knuffels, nieuwe bordspelen, puzzels. Alles is gecheckt, dus ik ben echt onder de indruk van wat mensen allemaal komen doneren.
Oh ja, heel veel speelgoed heb ik weggegeven. 99 speelgoed. Skibril, een puzzel van 100 stukjes.
The action is there for a reason. Whether you are a newcomer, refugee or Amstelveener, District Coach Stef sees that it's very necessary to help each other.
Ik merk heel erg om me heen dat toch mensen 3 keer nadenken voordat ze geld uitgeven. Als je dan kan besparen op cadeautjes, dan kan het misschien naar het kerstdiner of naar de energierekening. Ik ga niet moeilijk doen en bij de deur staan. Iedereen ik ga een beetje uit van de kerstgedachten. Mensen die het nodig hebben, die zijn welkom.
The fourth episode was about the Dutch healthcare system and the comparison between different countries and how people experience that. So on table, we had the director of Amstelveen Ziekenhuis, Sophia de Rooij, and Priya Rana, who was a guest on our table, talking about her personal experience.
And after a year, I started feeling that the physiotherapy sessions are not helping me anymore. So it was very difficult. All the different parts of the body started getting some problem. Then the symptoms became severe again. I was visiting GP in between and asking what is wrong with me. Can you please get a MRI done for me because muscles are paining everywhere. So they said, no, it's not required. So I had to go to Amstelveen Ziekenhuis. They said there is no major problem. They also tested my blood. They said there is some infection, so it could be some viral, and you please go home and take rest. So it was there for about 2 to 3 weeks. I was on paracetamols and painkillers, and then it subsided. It was like one evening I felt like this side is getting a very severe, what do you say, weakness kind of feeling. It was like I will fall down, or I can say it is like a paralysis kind of feeling. Okay, so again I had to go to Amstelveen Ziekenhuis. So the doctor, emergency doctor there, checked my vitals, and she said it is common. You don't have to do anything. You just go home and take rest. These episodes will come and go. You don't have to worry. So I was left with no options of reaching out to a doctor. Or I didn't knew what to do next. So before coming to Netherlands, we were in Germany, so we know how the medical system works, and I also have a very close friend there who's working as a nurse there. So she said we can take an appointment with a private specialist in Düsseldorf, and that was easy for me. More than going to India, it is going to be a big work. So reaching to Düsseldorf was easy. Like we just have to travel 2.5 hours, and then we consulted him. I explained to him about the problems, what I had, symptoms. He said immediately, he told me to get an MRI done. So that was done, and he found out that I'm having kind of spine degeneration, which is causing all the problems. He found that there is a lot of pressure again on the muscles. There is some need for injecting some medication and releasing the pressure. So I was given cortisone, 6 injections on here, and I started feeling better. Slowly I started becoming normal. So after coming back here, we are in Netherlands. We need to update the health condition to the GP. So I went to her and told my condition. She then referred me to a specialist here in Amstelveen Ziekenhuis, a neurologist. So I went to her, and then I told her my problems. So I got the call after 2 weeks, and they told me that you're going to have a telephonic consultation with your neurologist. So she called me and she told that she doesn't think that a nerve problem is causing this discomfort, and since it is not a nerve problem, she is going to close the case. Later, I went once again to the specialist in Düsseldorf, and I had to take one more dose of cortisone.
Right.
Yeah, because I was not feeling okay.
I think, that caused you a lot of problems.
Yes.
I can understand that. There is a difference in how we use protocols and guidelines in the Netherlands. The condition you describe, and I don't know your specifics, so the condition that's caused by osteoarthritis is a condition that impacts almost 50% of population, often female, but also men. It's in your fingers, it's in your toes. You describe many places, and degeneration of your joints is a situation that you should keep under control with painkillers and physical activity. That's what you do. In the Netherlands, we don't give cortisol injections for that, and we don't do MRI. So the problem here was the expectation, what you expected from your doctor and what you received. You asked for an MRI and you got an explanation that it doesn't help an MRI. And to solve difference in expectations, it's all about communication. Explain why we do this and we don't do the other thing.
It's about communication, bringing people together, you know, and understanding one another. Essentially, that's what it is. So what we did is we had a conversation with the alderman, or the deputy mayor, Marijn Balagoye, who is responsible for public health, which means that he encourages connection and communication between healthcare, the healthcare and the organizations around it. We spoke to him about his role and what he can mean as an alderman within Amstelveen for healthcare for the internationals as well as the local community. So let's see what he has to say.
Our international community is one of our strengths, but it also requires a proper response. And one of the things that we do is we try to inform people about healthcare in the city of Amstelveen. For this reason, we have our access desk right here in our town hall, where we help people to answer their questions about how they can find the proper healthcare for their needs. But finding a right personal physician can be a task, because there's a shortage of personal physicians in Amstelveen and in the general area around Amsterdam. So we can help people find a right personal physician for them, who can help them with their personalized questions. One of our main goals now is to have enough personal physicians, enough healthcare facilities. So we have plans to build a few more locations. And in the meantime, we see lots of initiatives from our local healthcare institutes and healthcare workers themselves to provide better information for our international newcomers. And we applaud this effort from our local healthcare workers very much.
Education is the best way of bringing people together. So we had on the table with us as our guests the Alderman of Education, Floor Gordon, and the head of the senior school of the Amity International School, Mr. Neville Kearton. They spoke about how schools play such an important role of bringing communities together. Friend for Friend is part of Particip, which helps young newcomers, get to know Amstelveen and the surroundings. They're accompanied with a buddy, and they get to know about, let's say, daily life of a ordinary Dutch family. They get to know the routines, they get to know the cultures and the habits. It gives them a soft landing to come into the Netherlands.
We match a young status holder, so someone that's a refugee, and someone that's like between the age group of 16 and 27 that was born and raised in Holland. They will walk with each other for like 6 months.
Newcomer John and buddy Fabian have been linked by Friend for Friend. They have been working together for a few months now to make John feel at home and to make a connection with Amstelveen. And that goes beyond just learning the language. It's the experience of the 18-year-old John who came to Amstelveen from Uganda 2 years ago.
He helps me a lot with the language. If I need some help with my homework, he helps me.
Language is like, it's one of the barriers, right? If you want to assimilate into a civilization, society. But like knowing where to go to get what also like really matters. Like your lay of the land, so to speak. You're helping people in way more aspects of life than just language.
Sometimes you may be at home lonely, you have nothing to do. Yeah, new here, you don't know anyone, you can speak the language. And sometimes the people for Friends of Friends, they came to my school. They said, if you want to participate, come. We can get for you people who can help you with anything you want.
Friend for Friend is therefore not only for learning the Dutch language. Perhaps even more important is to ensure that they integrate into society and make new contacts.
And you offer some like easy ways into some things that are mainly things like Dutch people do and knows, like how education works, for example, or how healthcare works. It's a perspective from someone who's like born and raised here, and it may help a lot if you're not from here.
The Friends of Friends concept, I think it's actually good, because like some people come from other countries, come here like to live here, and they may have some problems. They can't communicate with other people, and organizations like Friends for Friends come and help people like that. Yeah, it basically helps some people, and some people have some emotional struggles and some struggles at home. They want to just have someone to talk to. Yeah.
The starting points are therefore very diverse. Think of it as a broad package of a social safety net. Buddy Fabian sees that John has already grown enormously after a few months.
He was like really outgoing in the first place, so it was not like shy or anything, but like around each other we're way more comfortable than we were in the first place.
Coordinator Abdi, who was a buddy last year, has developed a close friendship. The importance of friend for friend is therefore very clear to him.
It's very easy to get like socially isolated, and if you can't speak the language and you don't have a lot of family or friends here, it's like very easily for you to fall out of picture. So here we try to participate everyone, and like they gain a big network from it. So for them it's like a good thing, and for us we're helping other people, so you could never go wrong with that.
You want to say goodbye in Dutch?
Doei. Yeah.
Is it something for the international school, maybe to send over volunteers, or?
I think it would be a fantastic initiative for us to connect with. We've got lots of students currently doing the diploma program, 17, 18-year-old students that as part of that program will undertake CAS experiences, creativity, activity and service. And I think these would be ideal service focused activities. I think they would benefit enormously from.
Absolutely, and I think it helps, you don't need children to, as a parent, you don't need just kids just to integrate or find new friends. There's a brilliant program, Friend for Friend, that can do so. I'm quite excited about it.
It's heartwarming to see, and but at the same time, it was a little bit confronting too to hear that some of these newcomers, the status holders, can feel quite lonely if they don't get that network and that opportunity. So I both think this is amazing, but we all have to like basically look out for one another. And sometimes it's very hard for a newcomer to integrate and know what to do. And, as a Dutch culture, we're a little bit standoffish. We'll look and see who's the new neighbor, but we will not go actively towards them to say, hey, how are you doing? So it requires something from both sides to connect. It's just, applause for the volunteers who do this, because the personal contact is so much more than just learning a language or...
Absolutely.
And I think our young people and these young people will have far more in common than separates them. And I think it's finding those common areas and building those relationships.
During the 6th episode, we talked about housing and living here in Amstelveen. We spoke to a student, his name was Boris Zeeland, and Bianca Combe, who is a real estate agent, about the issues that people face with the housing shortage here in Amstelveen. It's been a major problem. We went on the student campus and we interviewed some of the students over there, because this is an issue for everybody, not only for newcomers, but also for the residents of Amstelveen themselves. So let's see what the best part of that episode was.
Finding a place to live is difficult for all students, but internationals have the additional disadvantage of not knowing where to live. Xenia from Latvia started her bachelor with full enthusiasm, but she was not told about one thing. Finding a home in Amstelveen is no piece of cake these days.
I was trying to find it by staying in a hotel for a week, and then I was having appointments and I was going to meet people, and some of the meetings I had were quite sketchy. And then I couldn't find a place for myself, and I fell down by bicycle, thus I couldn't anymore talk much. And then I needed emergency housing. I came to my university. They couldn't help me by phone because a lot of people were homeless at that time. And then I contacted somebody at Couchsurfing. I just described my situation, and few people responded that they could host me. And then I stayed at the person for 2 months straight, sleeping on the couch in the living room. The person was really nice to me to host me for that long time. And basically this person saved my life in this sense. I didn't feel like I'm supported by university with finding the place. Even about Aulenstede, I didn't know till like September, because somebody accidentally mentioned that Aulenstede exists, not university who communicated it to me. The concept of Aulenstede as well, and the hospitation concept, I didn't know it. It's not existent in my country. I went through 5 hospitations, and this one here accepted me, and now I live here for a year and a half.
But how was it to live on a couch for 2 months while you're doing a study?
It was quite difficult to concentrate on studying. I couldn't really properly study or like socialize because of the amount of stress. But the most stress came after I found a place, because I had time to breathe out and I could realize what I went through for all that time before.
In 2023 there will be 85,000 foreign students in the Netherlands. In the area around Amstelveen, a total of almost 20,000 students come from abroad. Aren't there too many international students?
The problem is that there is no cap on my studies, so it can be as much people as possible, as much as applies, and the program is just growing. So there are programs which are much bigger than expected, but the university needs funding, which university is getting in case there are international students studying. Those, I think, there are just too much students, and with internationals the problem is that we cannot get the free transport. So even if Dutch people can stay at their parents, we cannot do even this option. So I think there should be less students in general for every program, maybe even less internationals, but those who are homeless need to be taken care of.
It seems that internationals are lured to the Netherlands for an interesting study, but are then left to their own devices to find a home. What is necessary to handle these situations?
Instagram from university should be a bit more transparent and a bit less idealistic about life in the Netherlands, because I think they're promoting much of how amazing it is in the Netherlands for everybody and how wonderful is the campus, and there is not much realistic news happening. Even if they say it's a crisis, I don't know how much of a crisis this is. Is it 4 months of searching? Is it a year of searching? And what is the budget? I never know the truth. I think it's also universities and DUO maybe even responsibility to just engage people in this sharing. I hope that they are going to be sharing their stories and the more realistic image of Netherlands will appear.
Yeah, you hear these stories all the time. You can go to any campus or any university and you walk up to an international student and you ask, what do you think of the housing? Everyone says it's awful here in the Netherlands. So we hear this all the time, and it has to do with the fact that the university is actually not responsible in the Netherlands for student housing. And universities in the Netherlands have, over the past few years, made it very attractive for internationals to come and study here. But because the university is not responsible for housing, they can just keep on growing.
Right.
Indeed, last year, finally, the university started to move, started telling people the honest story about how it is to live. But that took way too long. And if the universities they're not legally allowed to. Universities are not legally allowed to own houses.
Right.
So I think they should take responsibility and maybe limit the growth.
That's like you had the same thing with the universities. They should give more information. I think companies should give better information.
Right. And do you feel that, again, I see a common line over here that companies make it very attractive for people from outside the Netherlands to come, please work over here. There's a benefit to it, but they don't talk about, but these are the rules that you need to follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, some companies, they hire like relocation companies who arrange everything, and then they are aware of all the rules.
Correct.
But not everybody gets that service from their company.
Do you notice as well, just with the changes in terms of like the economical climate, that less companies are using a proper relocation company to get,
Yeah, absolutely. It gets
too
expensive.
Exactly. So then they just basically they hire internally or from whichever country, bring them here, and then they're like, figure it out.
Yeah. Just Google or ask
No,
somebody.
True.
Yeah.
In our last episode, we talked about the international policy, and we looked back and reflected on what all has changed since the first episode we did till now. So then we brought back the mayor and, of course, our very own vlogger, Curtis, back on table to see how things might have changed. It was a great discussion, and it was great to see Curtis again, as well as the mayor. Let's take a look.
A couple of weeks ago, the City Council approved the new international policy. And it's not new in the sense of we did have already an international policy. We started in 1957 already with a twinning city agreement with Berlin, Tempelhof. And in the 60s we had already the first Japanese companies who were coming to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam area, and also the first inhabitants. So we do have already a long time international policy. But we thought it's good to renew the policy because there's more internationalization at this moment, and it's important also to have answers on that.
Correct. So, I mean, Amstelveen is known for its diversity. I believe 23% of the Amstelveeners have an international background, which is about 142 different nationalities. I guess that's one of the reasons that Amstelveen attracts as well the internationals. We have a policy in place, like you explained. But why do you find it important that we have such a policy and not just let it happen naturally?
Yeah, it is important because we have almost 100,000 inhabitants. And now 23% of the inhabitants have a different passport, another passport. And those 142 cultures, people with different cultures, and most of them also different languages, are not automatically going to each other and speaking with each other and meeting each other. I think it's important in a modern city, which we are, that you meet each other and also do some activities together. And that's most important, to feel yourself also welcome here. And that's also one of the basics of the new international policy, that we have a better balance between economic growth and prosperity, and at the same time also the social well-being. But another important part is that we have, it's important that all residents in Amstelveen, so the Dutch residents and the international residents, feel at home in Amstelveen. And those two parts are the basics of the international policy.
Brilliant. Kurt, it's great to have you back. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah. And how is your Dutch going?
Mijn Nederlands is beter.
Very good. Very good. I mean, this it's a big improvement from last time already. Did you get to practice more?
A bit. I've met some local Dutchies through a bicycle club that I've joined. And I tell them, like, hey, when you can, speak Dutch to me, give me directions in Dutch so I can practice. Thankfully, we're on country roads where there's a lot of traffic, so there's not things to run into. But I really do enjoy that. And we have our regulars that we go to on the Friday market, and we speak Dutch with them. And we've let them know, spreek Nederlands met mij. So we try. We're trying. Try to learn the language and meet more people and get out. We go to the festivals like King's Day, and we were there at the Japan Day, and we were there for King's Night as well. Really enjoyed it, and it's great fun.
And what would you advise, Curtis, to newcomers here in Amstelveen? How to start with that part?
I think the first thing is just get out of your house a little bit. We all have that tendency of we want to go home at night and we're tired and whatnot. Yeah. I really love that I get this local newspaper. It's in Dutch. It was difficult to read at first, but it's getting better. And I read through it to look for the social activities. Yeah. Like what's going on in town. Oh, what festival is coming and when is it going to happen? And we make sure we go to those. The Friday market is a great place to meet people. We absolutely love that. You know, fresh food and vegetables and all the vendors there with their great wares, and many of them are more than happy to speak Dutch with us and be friendly with that, and speak slowly, thankfully, because I'm still not very quick with it. And I think the other part is just to take the chance. Yeah. You know, go and find something you like to do and meet the other Dutch people out there that like to do that too.
And what would you ask the Dutch residents if you would start here again? What would you like them to help you with that early start?
I think if I had it in a perfect way, obviously without Corona, I would really have sort of liked a pair family maybe, where they, you know, someone who could sort of show us the ropes. Like, oh, here's what it's like as I grew up here and this is what it's like. Or maybe there's an older couple that their children have moved away and they would like some time with our children. Like, hey, they could sort of be your Dutch grandparents, and just to teach us about the culture and the language. And I think that's a lot of fun. And for me, just having that resource to say, oh, here's some groups and some clubs that are looking for internationals, and they're more than happy to, you know, share their experience of what it's like to be a Dutch person.
Interesting. Good to hear that suggestion. I heard it many times, so I think we can do something with it, I think.
This was the last episode of the season for Amstelveen For Everybody. We've had a fantastic year. We've had some great guests on table. We have some great organizations telling us how they help internationals and newcomers feel at home here in Amstelveen. A special thanks for everyone. Thanks to you guys as viewers. But don't worry, we'll be back next year with new topics. But if you still miss us and you want to watch us again, go to YouTube, in Amstelveen. You'll find all the episodes over there, and you can just rewatch them whenever you want. For now, I'm signing out. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you next season. Bye. Bye.
Dit programma is tot stand gekomen met een bijdrage uit het Mediafonds Amstelveen.